Are we live?
We're live.
There it goes.
Oh, we're live.
Hey, everybody.
Okay, here we are. We're actually live. Thanks for that, Steph.
Hello.
So,
Yes,
good evening, world. Good evening, everybody who's actually come to join us tonight. It's going to be fun because we have a wonderful guest in Alia, who I'm sure many of you actually know. But as you can see, we have the regular Sunday school staff now. We actually have the Sunday school has its own staff of 3. So hello to John, who is the Carnivore teacher and the principal, or in other words, headmaster of Sunday School Carnivore. We also have Steph, who is our school administrator, I suppose you might say. She's head of the chat. She will keep us in order. She is a moderator in chat and will be asking for questions, please, this week, because we could do with a few QQQs, if you possibly can, to give us something to talk about. And she will make sure that everybody behaves herself, as she is in charge of the discipline at the school. And she says that in her spare time, she's also very fond of being a disciplinarian, but I'm not quite sure what that actually means. But anyway, so anyway, such is life. So there we go. And as for myself, I am George, your 59-year-old carnivore friend from Bridgewater in Somerset, the deputy principal, deputy head of Sunday School Carnivore. So what I'm going to do now is ask John just to quickly introduce himself, then Steph will, and then we'll move on to Alia, and she will tell us our story. So John, can you just briefly introduce yourself and remind people of who you are?
Sure. I'm John LaSpina. I'm the Carnivore teacher on YouTube and other social media sites. I've been carnivore for 2.5 years and ketovore and keto before that. So a total of 6 years of healing my body and finding amazing results, interviewing people, making videos and teaching, paying it forward. I'm thrilled to be here. These lives make a big difference. Audience, type your question, leave your comment, and Stephanie will highlight them. And I'll leave it at that.
Lovely. Okay, thanks, John. And Steph, the school administrator and disciplinarian, would you like to briefly introduce yourself?
Oh, I've been made a disciplinarian, so I better live up to it. Hey, hello, everybody, and welcome. We're hot off the Great British Meetup yesterday. I'm Stephanie at Happy Sexy Health, and I'm here pressing buttons, as we say. We would love your comments, your questions, rather, in the comments this week. Just use a QQQ, and we'll be coming right over to you. I'll hand back over to you, George.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And just to briefly remind everybody of my story, I used to be morbidly obese. I used to be a type 2 diabetic. The doctors told me that I would actually be a chronic and progressive type 2 diabetic. Then I discovered carnivore. I threw away the prescriptions, never cashed them in. And now I'm back. I've lost 120 odd pounds and I'm no longer a type 2 diabetic. So don't believe everything your doctor tells you. Right. Anyway, so tonight, let's move on to our guest. We have Alia.
Hello.
Alia tells me that she is a total newbie to doing these four-person panel shows. So we've got to take great care of Alia because she's very, very inexperienced when it comes to these four-person panel shows. So Alia,
I'm not a public speaker. I've never done that before in my life, ever.
So, Alia, everything's going to be okay. Don't worry. I know that you're a newbie, but I'm sure you'll prove to be a natural. So, Alia Wells, would you care to introduce yourself and tell us your carnivore story and what you do for a living nowadays, for example? Over to you, Alia.
I'd love to. Thank you so much. Carnivore story. So, like John, I attempted, but he seemed to be successful at doing keto for like 6 years. And but that just gave me IBS. So that's the short version of my story. I came to carnivore to lose at least 70 pounds. I was for many, many years. You guys don't see what I actually look like, because you can only see my skinny face. But
Alia, you have to remember that Alia, stop there, because you had to remember that you gave us a Zoom call at the beginning of the course and you were wandering around behind the chair. So yeah, we have seen you standing up.
Okay, good. So actually, the reason I came to carnivore is I was obsessed with losing weight. But really, that wasn't the problem. It was just what I thought the problem was. I don't know how to make that make sense. I got to go back. So in my whole life, I'd either been skinny or fat, and I could lose weight just by, cutting out the carbs. And I somehow knew that. And then I had children. And my body totally changes. Many women understand this. Your body will completely change after you have children. You need to understand one more data about me is that I had debilitating menstrual cycles my whole life. And I talk about this a lot. Like I assumed, because every time I would ask another woman for help, they would just be like, oh yeah, I have cramps. You just deal with it this way. I never had actually what they experienced. I had something totally different. And it was life ruining. And I can't say that in front of certain people because they're like, it's just experience or whatever. But no, it was like 3 weeks of the month I could live. And then 1 week of the month, I don't know how to explain. I would be in excruciating pain for several days, and then migraines, back pain, and then the period would start. And then maybe a day later, I could feel a little bit normal. And then 3 days later, I'd be normal. I would dread that week of my life. And this went on for 20 years. I have to say this to understand my carnivore story when I get to that actual point. So I didn't come to carnivore to handle my period. I didn't come to carnivore to handle my insomnia. I didn't come to carnivore to handle my IBS. I didn't come to carnivore to handle my eczema. I came because I was obsessed with losing weight because I had gained 80 to 90 pounds after my first child was born. And I got up even higher after he was born. And then I kind of done everything I think I could to try to lose weight, try to do keto. It would just blow up the IBS. I would eat these huge salads. I would have diarrhea, gas. I was miserable. Does that make sense? Years after I have my kids, I'm miserable. I'm exhausted. I can't sleep. This is a terrible thing for a mom. I wasn't trying to handle any of that. I just wanted to lose some weight because I thought that if I lost weight, I would stop crying about how I looked in the mirror. 3 days into carnivore. Oh, so I'd heard about carnivore like several years ago from Eric Berg, and I thought it was crazy, like everybody else does. And I was totally not into eating liver, which is what he talked about in that video at the time. And I'm like, no, I'll just stick with the salads, not knowing that probably the salads were the bigger issue. Sure, the seed oils and junk food made me fat, but the salads made me miserable physically. So 2.5 years ago, more or less, I started seeing more videos pop up about carnivore, and I saw my friend Carnivore Kip. He's not my friend. And I only clicked on that video because he literally looks like the blonde version of my brother. Does that make sense? So then I watched his video and I'm like, oh my God, this guy is doing this carnivore thing to lose hundreds of pounds. So can I. I didn't need to lose hundreds of pounds. There's a punchline to this story in about 20 minutes. Oh, I've got 20 minutes left. Okay. So I was thinking about doing carnivore for like 6 months, kept watching videos, binging Ken Berry videos. And then I'm like, oh, let me try this keto thing. But that just kind of continued the problems with the gut issues. One day I'm like, okay, March 1st, 2023, I'm going to start carnivore. That's it. I don't care. I'm just going to do it. I got to handle this weight problem. When I say crying, I was crying all the time to my husband about it often. Like, what do we do about my weight? How do we handle my weight? He didn't care. He never put any pressure on me. It was me that cared. So I started carnivore, March 2023. 3 days later, I could sleep again. I could sleep again. My gut issues went away. I had energy that I never had for my kids. I worked from home for many, many years before I started working for Dr. Kiltz. So I would sit in front of my computer all day, and then I would go 4 feet and go sit and watch TV because I had no energy to do anything else. My poor husband would be the one cleaning the house, doing the dishes, making the food, like doing everything because I felt so miserable. Does that make sense? So 3 days in, I have energy. I'm going to the park. I'm not saying, let's go watch Disney Plus. I feel fantastic. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel like myself again. So maybe 3 months in, I'd lost like 20 pounds. I haven't lost more than that in 2.5 years, but in 3 days, my life had changed completely. Like, I was so miserable. I remember being like a happy little kid and like, where did that happiness go? I guess this is what happens when you get old. I was like in my 30s. So do you get what I'm saying? Like, I hope people understand where I'm trying to go with this. It was like really never about the weight. It was always, if you look at pictures, I look like I lost like 50 pounds, by the way. It was just so much water, so much inflammation. I've only lost like 20. And I kind of bounce around between 20 and 30. I don't totally care anymore because I feel like myself. I can do my job as a mom. I can do my job as a wife. I can clean the house again. I don't care what people think about gender roles. I like making dinner for my husband. I like to clean the house. I like to be the mom. You know what I mean? And I couldn't do that for so long, or it was difficult, or it was hard, or I felt like poop, or I'm again in bed because of my period cramps, or I'm again in bed because I have diarrhea, or I'm again in bed because my stomach hurts, or a headache, or I don't know how many times my back hurt. So this was kind of the progression. Day 3, tons of energy and I can sleep again. No longer have insomnia or pseudo insomnia, like with my thoughts running around in my head all night long and I can't sleep. Day 12, 85% of the chronic back pain I had for 15 or 20 years gone. Chronic back and shoulder pain. Like these are things I never thought would go away. They're just part of, being old, not part of the crap that you're putting into your body. So day 21, my period had stunk up on me. And what do I mean by that? Like, wait, you're not supposed to be in excruciating pain? Why? Sorry to be so vulgar. Why am I bleeding right now with no pain? Like, it's crazy. For me, this is like craziness. And I'm like, wow, this is so powerful. Eczema on my hands cleared up that I had for years. I don't like the list just keeps going on. I could pick up my daughter. I could bend over in the shower, not worrying I was going to throw my back out. Like these little stupid things that are not so stupid. Like if you combine all of them together, you're physically unwell. And then they just started peeling away the more that I followed this way of eating. Do I eat stuff that's off? Yeah, I do. But I try to stick to this way of eating because I know if I do, I'm going to like feel the bad come back. You know what I mean? So day 90-ish, skin issue. I had 2 C-sections within like a year and a half of each other, 21 months. My kids are 21 months apart, more or less. So 2 C-sections. The scar had like never healed properly. It was itchy, like where the C-section was done. It would sometimes smell bad. I would be in the shower, like scrubbing it with soap, not knowing that that's probably not a good idea.
Oh, we've temporarily lost Alia, but she's only frozen, I think.
I'm here. Okay, good.
Back.
Yeah, I'm here. So it's just like little things like that kept going. But what was the mind-blowing thing was the period. The mind-blowing thing was all this stuff that I kind of just assumed, even though I knew in my mind was wrong about aging, was just the food that we're eating and you're poisoning yourself. And so, like I said, like I haven't lost them. I'm never going to look like I looked when I was 18 and I'm okay with that. When I was 18 and like 118 pounds, I'm never going to be that size again. What is that? 56 kilos, 54 kilos? But that's okay. Like I know now if I go get my blood work done, I'm healthy. My body is healthy. I have Hashimoto's. And this markedly, all those things, those bad things I was feeling about many of those bad things I was feeling about myself was a direct result of this thyroid condition, by the way. And when you eat the right foods, it kind of like calms everything down. I have to put a plug in that women get misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder because they have Hashimoto's and we don't look at the root cause. And actually the root cause is the food we're eating. I believe Dr. Baker said once, like he thinks women have a higher incidence of autoimmune conditions because we're the ones who've been brainwashed to eat all the vegetables. Because if we eat the vegetables, we're all going to look like Margot Robbie. It's not true. We're not going to look like Margot Robbie, no matter how many salads we eat. We have the body that God gave us, and we need to learn how to take care of the body that God gave us. And that body is beautiful. No matter, you know what I mean? You got to make it healthy. But we've all been brainwashed. I don't know. Stephanie, did you, when you were a teenager, have these like magazines of what you were supposed to look like?
Absolutely, I did, yes. So
you were looking at these images at the age of 11, 12, 13 of what beauty is, like these standards. And oh my God, like the whole Sydney Sweeney thing is so funny right now for me. She's beautiful. Do you guys know about the Sydney Sweeney? I've got good jeans thing. Okay, it's like this whole thing on social media. She's beautiful. She wears jeans. Whatever. That's good. They're going to sell jeans because of that. But the point is that we're not all going to look like everybody else in these magazines and what people consider as beautiful. And so we got to like take care of ourselves and realize what we got is beautiful. Does that make sense? And then, not, I don't care. People can be beautiful and then we can have magazines that show this, but we have to not internalize that we are not beautiful because we don't look like that. Does that make sense? I'm trying to make something make sense. Stephanie, do you get what I'm going here?
I do. I'm right with you. Yeah. Right with you.
So at a very young age, we get to, and men don't, I don't think this is the same for men at all, right? Like, you guys don't really care at a young age. You're not being forced. Like, this is what a man needs to look like.
It's more for a woman. You're
Okay.
absolutely right. It absolutely there's so much more pressure in the United States. You're in the United States too, right, Alia?
I grew up there. I've been in Colombia for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure. But anyway, it's very, I was a middle school teacher. The pressure on young girls is so strong to fit in and to be super thin and to look like something that's not even human. It's really sad.
Like Barbie.
Yeah. And the boys don't have that pressure.
They don't have that pressure.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And so, so we have these various images of ourselves that we are trying to achieve. And I even hear it like every day with Dr. Kills. Everybody is daily, people are asking, like, how do you lose weight? And he's like, stop trying to lose weight. Like, who's going to survive the famine? And I always joke that Dr. Kills is going to die before me in the famine. He's got a point though. So let's like stop the negative self-talk. And we've heard it enough from other people. So let's not believe it ourselves, appreciate what we got. And if you eat the right food, your mind's going to kind of calm down on that whole subject. And that's really what it did for me. Not that I shouldn't exercise or do all these things, but I'm no longer worried about what I see when I look in the mirror. It doesn't bother me anymore. So, oh man, I failed. I didn't do half an hour. I only got 16 minutes in.
No, don't worry about it, Ali. You got as long as you want.
George, there's some great questions. If you want to go over to the questions, just let me know.
Absolutely, yeah. We're two things come from the chat, please, Steph. Firstly, can you just give a shout out before we go to the questions? Can you give a shout out to who's actually joined us tonight? Give a shout out to a few people, and then we can go on to questions.
Absolutely, we've got a lot of our regulars, in the house, and lots of people from the meetup as well. So we've got Rick, King. We've got, do you know what? I nearly said Alia. We've got Trev. We've got Trev, who we met on Saturday. Brian, the fly fisherman. We have got Papa Carnivore, of course. We've got Target Prime Rim Thomas. We've got Anthony S, who had a ribeye this morning. We've got Prunal and T. Lewis. I can't go through them all, George.
But from what you're saying, basically, we've got most of the KMT on here, which is actually wonderful because obviously I'm a member of the KMT. Alia is very much a member of the KMT. So
I forgot to talk about that. Should I talk about that?
Yeah, talk about the KMT, and then we'll go on to questions after that. Alia. That's no problem.
So this carnivore journey actually has more of a story. Now that I totally forgot about a very integral, important part. So I was doing a job for many, many years. And the work was fine. It paid the bills, and I did it at home. And I love that company, and I love the people that I worked for. But I just at one point I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this work anymore. It was researching real estate. Like I said, I love the people. I love the company. We're still friends. We're on great terms. The CEO wrote me a beautiful letter of recommendation when I was applying for Dr. Kills. But it was like a work that's like perfect for an introvert. Does that make sense? And I am not an introvert. I am an extrovert. Even though I didn't feel that way for years because I felt so bad. So once I became myself again, I'm like, I can't keep doing this. So I started Carnivore, and then I'm like, I need to tell people about this. So I started my YouTube channel. And at some point I'm like, I got to stop doing this work. YouTube is not going to actually pay me. Sorry, YouTube. It's not going to be my solution to get out of this work. I want to figure something else out. And at one point I'm like, my husband was asking me. So basically a year ago, I made the decision that I need to do a career change. I need to do something I'm more passionate about. I hadn't figured that out maybe a year and a half ago. And then I'm doing my podcast, I'm doing my channel. And then maybe 2 years ago, I started working with Carrie on Healing Humanity. We did a lot of collaborations together originally when I started my channel. It was my idea to do the 24-hour live stream, and it was on my 40th birthday. I did not last 24 hours, and I still have PTSD. I said I will never do that again. But it was great, and we made a lot of money. But during that live stream, I met Dr. Kills, and I was so interested to talk to him about fertility, periods. I like everybody else. You're not talking. This is the one guest I'm talking to because I was doing like like Stephanie, I was just in the chat, but I said, no, I'm talking to him. So I talked to him. And then after that, I invited him on my channel. And the day that I had him on my channel, I was like, I totally want his assistant's job. Like in my mind, I want that job, the assistant that he had. Of course, I'm not going to say that to him. That's kind of rude. Like, can you fire your assistant and hire me? So many months went by. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this other work anymore. And at one point I was like, oh my God, I hate this work. I hate it. I can't do this anymore. And my husband's like, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I'll be a carnivore coach or something. I'll figure it out. I never want to work for anyone ever again. That was my mind at the time. And then 3 weeks later, I was like, oh, I have an answer for you. It just came to me like a communication in my head from nowhere. You guys can guess however those communications happen, right? And I'm like, I'd work for Robert Fields. That's who I'd work for if I worked for anybody else ever again. And then 3 days later, he was hiring. So I don't know what you call that. Manifesting destiny, manifest destiny, fate.
A miracle.
A miracle. With that said, I did harass him repeatedly after he posted that until he hired me.
There is a saying, Alia, that you make your own luck, and you made your own luck.
I made my own luck. So that's how I feel like my YouTube channel. So Carnivore inspired me to do YouTube, and my YouTube channel was like my internship to be able to work for Dr. Kills. Does that make sense? Like everything happens for a reason. So I still like to do my YouTube channel. I'll do some shorts once in a while, but I feel more passionate about putting my effort and energy into working with Dr. Kills and keep my channel going a little bit, but really I want to help him, and I want to be with my kids when I'm not working. Does that make sense? So I don't want to be doing more YouTube when I'm done working for the day. So, but yeah, he's very special. He's like a very special human being, and I love to be able to like help him in his goal and in his quest. And if you ever meet me at a meetup, I'm literally asking everybody, like, are you getting pregnant? Are you having babies? Like, like all the time. We're like, of course, you're Dr. Kills' assistant. Like, that'd be weird if you weren't asking that. So there you go. All right, ready for questions.
Okay, no, I'd like to actually just pick up on what you just said, please, Alia, because basically you have an inspirational story for me. Because starting from tomorrow, I have 4 weeks left in the construction industry because I have handed in my resignation. I've given my notice.
Oh, wow.
I'm in the construction industry. Why? Because I'm going to take a blind leap of faith into attempting to carve a career sat at this very computer. Now, as you know, myself and Stephanie are in week 6, I think, this week of the 13-week Carnivore coaching course. Please forgive us. We're a little bit behind because we've been extraordinarily busy just recently, and we continue to be so. But in September, I will not be working in the construction industry anymore. I promise I will be devoting my time to that course. I will be giving you all the feedback that you've been asking us for. I'm tempted to say pestering us for, but no, you've been very politely asking us for it. And as a teacher of English as a foreign language, I am a qualified teacher, which means I will give you professional feedback on the way the course is going. And on that note, as a professional teacher as English as a foreign language, I hope to be able to get some clients in that, as well as carnivore coaching. And as I think we discovered earlier, I can also translate from Arabic, French, and Spanish, y Español, into English. So I might be able to pick up a bit of translation work. As I was explaining to Steph earlier, I'm also a bloodstock consultant in the thoroughbred world. And as you well know, I am traveling to America to get myself acquainted with the cattle ranching world. And I come from a farming background myself, so I've got half an idea of maybe becoming some sort of diplomat between the UK and the USA. And as I explained yesterday at the British meetup, and as I explained to you on Friday, I have this diplomatic mission which I've appointed myself to actually try and bring the UK and USA carnivore community together so that we can actually become a united force in the world. So I don't know how I've actually got time for the day job at the moment. But it is a blind leap of faith because I have no guarantee apart from my army pension, which I pick up on September the 2nd when I'm 60, which will give me a bit of income. But I'm going to go and do it. So you are very much an inspiration for me. And actually, we haven't got time to tell
you.
Steph's story, but she did something very, very similar herself, and she has succeeded. So both of you are a massive inspiration for me. Anyway, enough about me. Over to you, Steph.
Actually, now that you say that, I actually put in my 2-week notice before I was even in like the second interview in the hiring process. I put my totally it was a leap of faith.
Well, yeah, exactly. But you know what Dr. Kilt says? He says just believe in faith, believe in destiny, be a lion, make those hard choices, and the doors will open for you. And
that's
you're
right.
living proof. So yeah, it's I admire you for it, but you've inspired me. So you've helped to inspire me to do it as well. So I hope it works for me.
It's going to. It's going to. And I was just thinking about this today. Sometimes in your mind, you will have like negative self-talk. Does that make sense? So even while I had quit my job, I mean, I threw the standard way and whatever, like 2-week notice, whatever. In my mind, I had a lot of negative self-talk. Like, oh my God, you're crazy. What are you doing? What about the stability of your family? And I just pushed forward despite that. And sometimes in your life, when you're trying to do something that's like very much going to increase your survival, increase betterment in your life, you might hear that. And you just got to push through it, or else you don't do anything.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, that's very true.
Push that there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when that door opens, you just got to go through it. Anyway, Steph. So have we got any questions that need addressing?
We have.
Excellent.
It's going wild in the chat, which is great. But Papa Carnivore asked about something that Dr. Lisa Wiedemann is doing, which sounded quite interesting. She's doing low-fat carnivore with pickle, sauerkraut, and salsa avocado as condiments as an experiment to lose weight, and she's down 12 pounds. And I don't know what we mean by low fat. There's been a bit of chat about that. What exactly do we mean by low fat? Does anyone know the fat percentage? But it'd be great to hear, maybe John, what your thoughts are on this.
Well, to each their own, and what works for one person doesn't work for everybody. As a carnivore, this is not carnivore foods, but I'm looking at them: pickles, fermented cabbage, which is sauerkraut, salsa. It's got the onions, had the tomatoes, the nightshades, avocados, really harmless. It's pretty healthy, the fats. So of all of the plant matter out there in the world, those are very innocuous. And harmless, but for some people, even that stuff will hurt them. Yeah. So it's very individual. If it works for her and she's doing it as a test, that's what we do. We test ourselves. I encourage always trying things and testing and see what works with self. But I can't say you have to do this and you have to do that. So that's those are my thoughts.
Does anybody else want to chip in, or should I go on to the next? Alia.
I tried doing low fat, so I was eating like fish and eggs, and within 2 days of doing this, I was crying again. And I was like, why am I crying? Oh, it's the fat. It's the fat. Like your body's not nourished, and all of a sudden the weird stuff starts happening again. I can do pickles. Sauerkraut gives me diarrhea. Nightshades are bad for people with Hashimoto's, and I've done avocado. Sometimes it gives me gas. So yeah, like pickles are okay on this list for me. I'm curious how I could successfully do low fat. I'm also curious why Lisa Wiedemann's trying to lose weight.
That's true.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to lose weight, but interesting that she's down 12 pounds.
Yeah.
She must be like a size 4 now.
That's the Lisa Wiedemann. And also Papa Carnivore again, how was the Great British Meetup yesterday? Did you have fun and eat lots of delicious meat? So George.
Okay, so the Great British Meetup happened yesterday after 10 months of fairly stressful preparation. We had a great committee. We had a great caterer. Yes, we had fun. There's no question about that. And we've got some great feedback today. But a lot of people have used that word fun. One of the reasons why I've just been absolutely flat out today dealing with people thanking me, coming up with suggestions, saying how much fun they had and how wonderful the meat was. Because we had a proper professional caterer who is a farmer himself. and he gets all of his pig, his hog, his lamb, and his beef from local farmers, locally sourced farmers, and so it was top quality meat. He even made his own special carnivore burger. So he made it from pure ground or minced beef, and the only addition that he put into it was salt. There was no seasoning, no filling, nothing at all. And all the carnivore burgers were cooked, grilled in beef dripping, as we know it, or as tallow, as it's known across the pond. So yeah, we had an absolutely fabulous meetup, and we had fabulous meat as well, and we had a lot of fun. So that's all I can say. One thing I will say is that the meetup went very well yesterday, and people are asking already, when's the next one? Well, I can tell you that despite the fact that we were all exhausted after several months of planning, at 07:30 hours this morning, I went and met Steph for breakfast. We don't actually live in the same town, but she was staying in a hotel near me, and with her wonderful sister, Nicky, and with Carl Day of the Primal Lifestyle, and also our US ambassador, Mark Caldwell, who lives in Atlanta, Georgia. He was over for it. We'll talk about the US ambassador a bit later on. But we had a 5-person committee meeting. We identified what went well, what went wrong yesterday. We're going to put a few things in place, and basically, we are raring to go again. And as we know, carnivores don't rest on their laurels, even though they are utterly exhausted. They get up early the next morning and start planning for the future. So anyway, I hope that answers your question, Pete. So
I have a quick question. So can you post some video clips and pictures, either Stephanie or on George's site? Because I couldn't go. I would love to see how it went. You get to see some visuals.
Over to you, Steph, because you're the technical expert here, not me.
Oh, we can't hear you. You have to unmute, Steph.
Yeah, I will post some pictures. We had a phenomenal time. We were hanging out in the sunshine. Here it's a bit fickle with the sunshine, right, but we got it yesterday, so it was really good. Now I'll put some pictures up.
Great.
I want to do a big up, and then we've got a couple of questions that I want to get to. But Carnivore said, Alia, thank you for sharing your story. It's incredibly relatable, not just for me, but I am sure for so many others who've walked a similar path. Your honesty and openness are truly inspiring, and I have to agree.
Aw, well, thank you. I'm so glad you can relate. I'm glad it's relatable. I'm glad it's not just me. And I hope that it helps some other people. I want it to help other women.
And thanks, Carnivore, for your comment.
Yeah.
So now we've got a question from Chris, and I'll start off with you, John. Do most of you on the panel eat more than once a day? I do, says Chris.
Yep.
So John, I'd love to know how you eat and why you eat that way, and any reflections on meal timing.
Again, like my last answer, it's all up to you individually. What worked for me personally, I'm a 2-MAD person. I eat twice a day. My body tells me when I'm hungry each time, and it's usually around 11 or 12 is my first meal. And usually around 6 o'clock is my second meal. And I typed my 2 meals for today in the chat earlier. I'll read them out to you again. Today I had 4 eggs and 2 extra egg yolks, pasture raised, over easy because I love my yolks runny. I had 5 wild caught shrimp and some ground beef and ground pork, all in a ton of butter in my pan. And I eat this, and when I'm done and I walk back to the kitchen with the empty plate, I say to myself, that is so good. I am so satisfied. I'm so happy eating this way. And then right now on my Traeger grill, which is a wood-fired smoking, so wood pellets smoke it. We're smoking beef ribs. We started them at 11 o'clock a.m. Awesome. They'll be ready by 6 tonight, smothered in butter, step 2. And I can't wait till dinner tonight. And then I don't want anything before, in the middle, or after. All those cravings disappeared a long time ago when I got rid of sugar.
Love it.
So that's what works for me. Everybody's different. I know a lot of people that eat only 1 meal a day, every day. And I tried that actually. And I just got hungry. I'm like, I can't wait till 5. And so I want my meal. My body wants 2 meals a day. So but I know I can. If I have to fast, if I'm on an airplane or something, I know I could go days and days and not worry about it. My body can take care of itself. That's what's so cool about this way of eating.
Absolutely.
Do you want to go, Alia? How many meals a
Sure.
day?
2 or 3. I've got a very unusual schedule. So you're going to think I'm eating breakfast at a normal time, but I wake up between 3:45 and 4:30 in the morning because I start the live stream with Dr. Kiltz at 5 a.m. Central. And so I've already been up for hours and I usually eat breakfast at 8. But so it's kind of like my lunchtime. Like maybe that's John's 11 a.m. is my 8 a.m. And then probably around 3 when I'm done working. Yeah, I have a long day. I take breaks, don't worry, or I go get the kids from school. But then I will have maybe my lunch and or dinner at 3, or maybe a snack a little bit later, a snack being like some eggs or something. And that's it. And I eat beef, pork belly, and eggs is probably the main food items. Air fried pork belly. I do drink bone broth and a lot of butter. It's very simple. 2 to 3 times a day. There you go.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alia. And George, what about you? How many meals in a day?
I used to sort of do OMAD, TMAD when I was actually trying to heal myself, but I've really succeeded in healing myself now because I'm down to my correct body weight, my 17-year-old body weight, in fact, and I'm no longer type 2 diabetic.
Jealous.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm no longer. So basically, I find, like John, I get hungry. I kind of change things up at the weekend, but Monday to Friday when I'm at work, I take 3 10-ounce lamb leg steaks in with me, which I eat between 0800 hours, 8 a.m. in other words, and 12 midday. So I have a 4-hour eating window then, and then I tend to have a meal when I get home at night, which can often be about 7 p.m., 7:30. So those are my 2 eating windows every day. That's fairly regular. At the weekends, things do change a bit. I don't tend to have breakfast until about 0800 hours. Today, I went up for this committee meeting up at the local hotel. I had 4 bits of bacon, 4 eggs, and 4 sausages, all fried in butter, which is very nice. And then when I got home this afternoon from what we were doing today, I had a lamb steak, 10-ounce lamb steak, and a couple of fried eggs on top of it, fried in beef dripping. So that's been the way I've eaten today. So yeah, I don't try and focus on OMAD or too much intermittent feasting or fasting. However, I did do a 48-hour therapeutic fast earlier on this week on account of the fact that I'd mistakenly eaten some seed oils previously, and my gastrointestinal health was suffering. So I used a 48-hour fast as a pressing the reset button, and that worked. Thank you for that, Steph. That's great.
Brilliant. Well, great questions. And now we've got one from Linda Rootsong. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And she said she's been carnivore for about 5 months, but my inflammation is worse in my knees. So, John, what would you say about that?
I'm not a doctor. So don't take what I say as medical advice. What I've learned, the advice I've learned from Dr. Kiltz and many others, is that your body is healing, and it's going to go through these waves of not feeling well certain days. And that's the body actually taking care. You have the impurities and the toxins have to work their way out. Right. So keep eating properly, and don't let a bad day of pain discourage you and say, oh, it's not working. Those signs are actually, those little pain and issues may actually be signs that it is working. It's working its way through, and you need a big dose of vitamin P, patience. And it's going to happen. It happens for, look at all of the comments in everybody's videos for everybody, Dr. Berry, everybody is healing and getting better. It just does take time. I did a video a while back. It said, when you walk 10 miles into the woods, you have to walk 10 miles to get back out. So we ate our whole lives, probably an inflammatory, oxidative stress type of foods diet. It's going to take time to heal, and give it time is my non-doctor's advice.
Yeah, John, if I can, as a non-doctor myself, can jump in here. bear in mind the fact oxalates and oxalates dumping, and that sometimes after a while can cause joint pain as well. Yeah, absolutely. So if you don't know about oxalate dumping, go to John's channel, Carnivore Teacher, go back to his mini series on plant toxins and look up oxalates, and he will explain to you about oxalates. Just a quick one for myself. I have a case of damage done to my knees because I was a soldier and a sportsman in my youth, and I put my knees under a lot of pressure. And then, of course, when I was carrying 120 pounds around me, that continued with it. I am kind of resigned to the fact that I have damage done to my knees now. I can no longer run. I'm not particularly flexible, but I can get from A to B very effectively, and I can do a bit of hill walking. So I'm kind of, I accept the fact that I will probably never get my knees back fully, but I am 80% of the way there from where I was. So I'm really quite happy with that. Okay, thanks, Steph. Have we got anything else to?
Yes, we have. Oh, sorry, I pressed the wrong one.
But yes, Rick, that's true. You're the only 57-year-old who's never had joint pain. Correct. On the entire planet.
I think Rick is correct as well. But then again, as we know, he never put himself down the route of actually getting those joint pain.
Right.
He started at the age of 16.
Yeah.
Had we all started when we were 16, look at how much healthier we'd be today.
Right.
We would all be as amazing as Rick.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying here, John.
I would have grown taller like Rick if I started back then.
Yeah, excuse me while I just try and scare Rick off for a second with my pet duck here.
Yeah.
So Rick's just showing off there. But Linda said, thank you in capital letters, guys.
Yay.
Thanks for those answers. We have got some more questions, and I just had an interesting comment also, which I wanted to put up here because I've not heard of people doing the egg fast for like 6 to 8 weeks, but Meathead did, and he said he felt okay. Any thoughts on that, John?
Let's see. Let me read that again. I ate 16 eggs a day for 6 to 8 weeks and felt great. And you want to comment on that? The egg. If it's pasture raised and the egg ate mostly bugs and worms and grubs and the yolk is orangey, it is one of the most perfect foods on the planet Earth. It contains the perfect amount of everything except, unless you eat the shell, calcium. It's just amazing. So the more eggs, the better. And Meathead, you got to get Archie off of there and put Meathead's actual picture. You got to get Mike Stivick's picture in there.
I'm curious if he only eat eggs.
People do that. They do these little tests and they have only sardines or only eggs, and they monitor their weight loss and their feeling and their sleep and everything. And that's fine. I do advocate not to do that for the rest of your life. I think it's healthy to have a variety of carnivore food so that you're hitting everything. Like George talked about lamb, one of my favorite lamb steak. Nothing as amazing as lamb. Very high in omega-3. They call lamb the fat in lamb. It's very similar to fish fat, to the omega-3 fatty acids you get in fish. So they should have a variety of everything for the rest of your life. But you could do that egg test for a while and see how you feel. Sure.
I could try the eggs. I think I would need to eat 16 to be not hungry. But I tried sardines for 3 days and then my butt was bleeding. So I stopped the sardines and I felt miserable. Sorry. You didn't have me.
Your butt was bleeding. Oh,
yeah, totally. Absolutely. I think it was not olive oil that was in there. And I didn't have water sardines and I haven't been able to eat a sardine since.
For sardine, I do a can of sardines every other day. I get them in water and they don't say boneless and skinless. I want the bones, I want the skin. And then I squeeze mustard in there. I do. And it's phenomenal. It's delicious.
Yeah.
I'll try again. No, sorry.
No, okay.
From that experience, I couldn't. Sorry, everybody. Sorry for grossing you out.
No, we're all carnivores here. We talk about our bodies. Steph, a quick one before we move on to another question. I'm very much aware of the time. I'd like to give a 5-minute rundown of actually how the event happened yesterday. The Great British Meetup at Sourdown Farm near Glastonbury. So we had a registration process at 9 o'clock. We all got little festival badges with our names on. And then at 10 o'clock, Carl Day of the Primal Lifestyle, the Master of Ceremonies, the MC, introduced everybody. I gave a 20-minute talk next in which I talked about the importance of the carnivore community and how I'm trying to unite the UK and USA carnivore community. And I think that went down quite well. And then I had an amazing speaker follow me afterwards, a young lady called Steph, who told her story very well. I'm about to become emotional myself. Steph became rather emotional, and she got a standing ovation for it. That was absolutely fabulous. Then we had a brief interval, and then we got on the wonderful Lauren Tucker, who is going to be one of the stars of Healing Humanity, who told her story, followed by Lee Copus, the Kent Carnivore, ditto, another star of Healing Humanity. So we had quite a star cast there. And then we had our two main speakers, one of whom being Coach Stephen Thomas, BSc Honours, the UK Carnivore, a phlebotomist and a coach. And we finished off with Richard Smith, Keto Pro, the Welsh wizard, and the world's top nutritionist. So that was our speakers list, and everybody was fantastic. Everybody went down very well. We then had our wonderful lunch of a hog roast, beef roast, lamb roast, and carnivore burgers. I'm very proud to say that the bread rolls were hidden away, but they were there. And I've only heard one report of somebody actually asking for a bread roll. So the vast majority of us were pretty good carnivores yesterday, which is nice. We then had a Q&A session. Then we had a raffle in which we raised a considerable, I think. Sorry, my wife has just reminded me that she raised, because she was in charge of it.
Hi, Lainey.
Yeah, Lainey was in charge of the raffle, and I think we made I think we made a profit of about £280, probably that's over $300, which we're going to carry, which would be very good. And then we finished off with a disco and a bit of a socializing, and everybody got to get around to each other. We made loads of new friends. There was lots of hugging, lots of carnivore love. I've got about 1 million new friends on Facebook and WhatsApp today, and one of the reasons why I'm not very prepared for this episode tonight is the fact that I've been dealing with all those new friends today and commenting and that sort of thing. What a wonderful, wonderful crowd of people, and here come the emotions again. Back to you, Steph.
Mute.
I'm not used to things. I'm just a beginner. So we had a couple of comments. You saw that Trevor said the speakers were outstanding yesterday, as were the burgers. Totally agree, Trev. And it was lovely to meet you too. We had a really good chat. And also Jonathan, Carnivore Muscle, said he got to speak to loads of people. We chatted very briefly as well. And he looks absolutely incredible in person.
Absolutely. A quick one for Jonathan. Yes, you will be one of the key speaker at the next one. We were discussing this morning, and we all agreed, yeah, your story will be the keynote speaker at the next Great British Meetup, Jonathan. So there we go.
His story is incredible.
And a couple more. I just wanted to congratulate All for Jesus Carnivore. I'm sorry I don't have all your names, but if you do want to give your names or a public name that you want to be known by, please put that in the chat as well, and I'll make a note of it. But she feels great because she's put on a shirt she's not worn for over a year, and it felt like it's so big now after losing 60 pounds. So huge.
Well done.
And Thomas from Target Primary has topped us all because he's going back inside, getting ready to eat his 4th meal of the day.
Oh, you must be hungry.
Yeah. And
fourth meal of the day already, because you're only lunchtime over there, I think.
Maybe he was working last night. Maybe he did a night shift.
Yeah, night shift possibly.
Yeah. So that's it on the questions front. If I've missed a question, just put in again, QQQ. So I'll go over to John. Have you got anything you would like to add?
To add, wow, I feel privileged. I get to add something in this space of time. I don't have anything on my head other than it's so great to hear about how the event went. I know you put so much effort and time and love and your heart and care into this. So I'm anxious to see some of the videos and pictures. When I have gone to symposiums and events where everybody's there, we're all on the same wavelength, everybody's either keto, low carb, or carnivore, you walk away high
Right.
So much encouragement, so much support, and any of those doubts that you have in your mind just vanish because you know you're on the right track. It's not just that you feel well and you're making progress, but you see all these people and you talk to them. You know, everybody's giving each other their cards, and you make, and my YouTube channel numbers go up, and I follow more people. It's so exciting. So I know what you're talking about. That's all I wanted to add there.
Yeah, actually, there's something quite an important thing here, which I did speak about in my speech at the meetup, and that's about the carnivore community and about how we all know each other, but we are just faces in cyberspace. We never actually get to meet, very, very rarely anyway. And I've got a wonderful story about Friday night, because I was sat in the bar of the hotel where I was expecting Steph and her sister Nicky to turn up. So I was kind of anticipating. And then I looked towards the door and I saw Steph walk in. And with Nicky, I've never met Steph before in my life. We know each other very, very well, but only through being a face in cyberspace. And I actually she walked up to me, and I walked up, and I looked at her, and we stood within, a foot of each other. And I said, Steph, you're a real person. You're a real flesh and blood person. And that was it. And we gave each other a great big hug. And I said, yeah, you are. You are, in fact, actually a real person. And then had a great big hug with Nicky as well, her sister. And suddenly these people who to me were just pictures and faces and voices, they suddenly became these wonderful, warm people. And I don't know if anybody else has had any similar experience.
100%. Absolutely. And they were like your best friends, right?
It was a very, very emotional, very spiritual moment. Alia, do you want to tell us about any one which you may have had in the past?
Oh man, because I've been to a lot of meetups now working for Dr. Kiltz, but my first meetup I went to was at Healing Humanity in like March last year. And I love Carrie, I love Adam, but man, his daughters and I are like BFFs. Like I really love them. And it was so beautiful to like hang out with them. So whenever we meet each other, we're like, John, we're like the bad kids in the back of class, like all talking to each other when the lesson's supposed to be happening. Like sneaking outside to smoke cigarettes while the teacher's talking. Like those, like it's just amazing. The people that you meet and the connections that you make and the friends that you make. And everyone is like your best friend. Did you guys feel that when you met each other yesterday? Like you guys are like best friends who love each other, right? Yeah. And it's so much cooler. Like this community that we have is beautiful, and we can talk to each other from all over the world. I'm in Colombia, John's in the US, you guys are in the UK.
It's cool. Yeah.
It's so cool. But when you get to like see the actual physical human in front of you and just like give them a big hug, it's very spiritual.
And on this space and in person, it's all optimism and positive.
Yeah.
People encouraging and patting on the back. And I don't think you see that in the vegan community and some of the other ones. We understand it's about feeling good and health and nutrition, and we just want to help each other. And it's all positive. I've never experienced anything. I'm an introvert. You talked about being an extrovert. I'm a severe introvert, really? But you'd never know it. I get my energy from within. I get drained when I'm around a lot of people. I can't be on long. I have to take a break. Yeah. But being a carnivore and going to these events, I turn into a little bit of an extrovert. I have confidence and energy and excitement. I'm actually feeding off of other people's energy, which is very rare for me. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So I had a very strict instruction from my lovely wife, Lainey, who was in charge of the raffle yesterday. She would like to point out that we have our own enforcement agency here in the carnivore community, and she is known as Chief Inspector Lainey of the International Carnivore Police. She wore this yesterday, and she made sure she intimidated people into buying raffle tickets. No, of course she didn't. She charmed people into buying raffle tickets, but she would like to point out that we do have our own law enforcement agency, so we're very well organised. So
funny.
Thank you very much for that, Lainey, and please don't beat me around the head because you said you were going to be watching to make sure I said that, so I just did. So there we go. Anyway, how are we doing for time, Steph? What's it looking like?
6 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
6 minutes. Yeah.
Can you, not that I want to like pat myself on the back, can you put up Eddie Spaghetti? Carnivorous Dude, his comment. Carnivorous Dude is one of my friends also. I love Eddie. Can't give him a shout out. I call him Eddie Spaghetti. He's Carnivorous Dude on YouTube. Just one of those, another great person that you meet when you go to these meetups. I'm all for meetups. And by the way, John, day 3, thanks. Yeah, I do spaghetti fire also. Day 3 of a meetup though, I did a 3-day meetup. Yeah, that's where I became like, oh no, I'm done. I'm over peopled right now.
Oh, so it hit you.
Yeah, it'll hit me on day 3.
Yeah.
Alia is on fire, which actually reminds me of one person I haven't mentioned who's quite important, and that is a member of our committee called Lauren Tucker. I think I mentioned her speech yesterday. What I failed to mention is the fact that she was on fire on the dance floor last night. She was 32 years old, and she ordered the disco. Well, she asked for the disco, and she said she was going to dance the night away, and she kept her promise. So, yeah, big shout out to Lauren, who got a lot of other ladies up dancing while us blokes nursing our knees sat and watched, and it was a delightful sight because Steph was up there with them as well, and so was my wife, Bailey. So all of my favourite ladies in the world were up on the dance floor together, which made me very happy. Anyway, so I can see that we're now less than 5 minutes to go. The school bell is looming in the distance, and the headmaster will be very cross with me if I allow the class to run beyond the school bell. So this will probably sack me, I expect, and I probably deserve it. But anyway, at this point is where we allow the guests to have a quick 2 minutes rundown of where we can find it. Not that any of us need to know where to find it. Alia, please, anybody tuning in for the first time who doesn't know who you are, please tell us where we can find you.
So you can find me on my channel, Alia Wells. It has my face. My hair looks a little bit different. It was blonde. It's now natural again. So, but similar picture without glasses. There you go. Find me there. Or you can find me Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Eastern with Dr. Kiltz. And you can email me, alia@drkiltz.com. I'm easily reachable.
Absolutely.
And can
I just point out that that is 11 a.m. BST, because I try and jump on every day, and I always make a point of entering the raffle, and I never expect to win it, and yet I did one day, and it was quite a remarkable experience, to be perfectly honest. More of which later.
That was spiritual.
It was spiritual, very much so. Yeah, I'm off to Wyoming for 3 days with Doctors Kiltz, Chafee, and Dr. Sean O'Mara because of it. It's a long story, so I haven't got time to tell it now. But John, please tell us about your how we can find you, and carry on, John.
All right, real quick. I don't need 2 minutes. Carnivore Teacher on YouTube. I post everything also to the various social media sites. So you can just type in that name in Facebook or Twitter or X and all that stuff. And I make a lesson every day between 3 to 7 minutes about carnivore. I get all my ideas from all my carnivore doctors. I jot them down and I do some research and I make lessons because I am a teacher, still teaching. And then I do some interviews. I have one coming up this Thursday. And I just did one with a politician last week. It's really amazing. These people come to me now, or I go to them, and their stories are fantastic. Everybody's story touches somebody, and we all learn from one another. So I'm really excited to be in this community.
Brilliant. Okay, so we're getting very close to the finish, and I always hand over to Steph to press the button and go beep at the end of it. So I will briefly interrupt and say that, my name is George Goodenough, and I have a very tiny channel called George Goodenough 823, which I'm not very professional on. However, I do have a very good teacher, once again known as Steph, who is teaching me how to use YouTube. So I will be learning how to edit and actually be a bit more professional in the future. I'm also on Facebook, highly active on Facebook. Again, George Goodenough, fairly distinctive name, I suppose. Please come and find me and come and be my friend. But do mention Carnivore in your profile, because that's how I judge as to whether I'm going to accept friendships or not. I'm also on various groups, and just come and find me anyway. Right, we've got a very short amount of time to go, so Steph is responsible for ending the show and pressing the button.
I just want to say thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here.
You've got about a minute to just tell us where we can find you, you happy, sexy, healthy person.
Brilliant. Hello. Yeah, I'm Stephanie at Happy Sexy Health. Do find me there. And I've put the links to all of the host channels, John at the Carnivore Teacher, Alia, our guest this week, and of course, George Goodenough and myself in the comments. So if you're not following us already, you can do that now. And with that, We'll see you all next week. It's been a lovely evening. Thank you for all the questions and comments. And we'll see you all next week. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a